Johnson guns it to the left side, and down the sideline he goes. Midfield, 40, 30, cutback, 20, 15, 10. He is gone! LaDainian Tomlinson, 85-51.
Let's go. Welcome into the MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. My name is Tyler Johnson, and with me, as always, is Ryan Elke. I know that we are having a great day here in Wisconsin. The weather is getting even more warm, and it just keeps reminding me of playing outside, playing basketball in the olden days. And I know that we, as a group, always got together to play basketball outside. It's a little bit windy, so you feel that wind, and it's like, oh man, that would suck to be playing, but it definitely gets you in the mood. Ryan, don't you remember when we used to play basketball outside in this springtime? You just want to get out right away, even if it's 40 degrees outside.
It's the good old days, man. We used to play, every day, every other day?
Yeah.
But where we played, though, we were used to the wind, honestly. Even in midsummer, we had the breeze coming down that giant hill, but we were out there every day, active, playing basketball. And, yeah, man, just this warm weather does remind me of that. Hopefully we can get the gang round up and get out there, man.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be very easy to get the guys together. And it also brings together our softball group. I'm excited to play softball, and I'm also excited to play hardball. This is baseball in Wisconsin with 40-degree weather. This is what we look for. I know that you're excited for softball as well. I know we were in the group text together. Let me know how our team's going to do this year, Ryan.
I feel like our team is upgraded. Last year we struggled, but I'm playing 4 nights a week this year, and I just can't wait for the next nice day to get out there and swing, to be honest with you.
4 nights a week?
I'm in 4, yep. Sunday through Wednesday.
Goodness. Hey, that's how it works. That's how I usually play too. I got
You know what though? It makes up for like what we were talking about before with being out there every day, every other day playing basketball in the summer. Now I know I'll be out there 4 days a week doing that because it's, as we get older and people have their own lives and go do their own thing, it's harder to get everyone together.
Well, and that's what I was going to say.
Jobs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
as we're getting older, we're not right down the street from each other.
Yeah,
so it's not like we can just like bike ride to each other's houses. So being in like more of a recreational sport where every week you have to show up for your team, I think that's the best way to do it. I love joining in those leagues like baseball leagues, our softball leagues that we do, and like
basketball
volleyball
in the winter, man.
Exactly.
Even that.
I mean,
the basketball league, it's 1 day a week.
You put money towards it. I mean, just like fantasy football, you put money towards it, you're gonna show up, and you're gonna show up for your team. So it makes sense to be joining leagues as you grow up. Because we all know it's super easy to just get at home and turn on the game or something and hang out. So,
no, for sure. That's funny you said that because money's involved that everyone will show up. That's not always true, even in fantasy, man. You know them guys that, they'll draft and then 2 weeks they'll be 0-2. They get blown out and they just give up. And I hate that. That's why you have to play with people that are like someone vouched for them or, you know them because I've played in a few. Actually, every year I play in a couple Yahoo leagues, the 10-man leagues. It's just all with random people, and honestly, every single one of them, you got 1 or 2 guys that just quit after like week 4, dude. You can't do that. Your season can turn around, and you go on streaks.
And that's a good preview of what we're going to be talking about today, because we're going to go over player free agency. We're going to go over the news involving a few players, a few signings, and then also some comparisons. And then we're going to get into our main talking point of the show, and that's going to be league settings and what we prefer. Me and Ryan, we've been doing this league for a long time. I know Ryan's been doing it even longer, so we kind of just want to give our insight on what we think is our perfect settings, and then we can also kind of spread out to what other people like to play and maybe the pluses and the minuses of why you would play in other leagues other than our own settings. So, and then after that, we have a few questions left over from last week that we want to answer, and it's kind of like a Q&A, taking those questions right off the internet from actual people looking for advice, so that we're able to put our 2 cents in on what we think and giving our expert opinion. So, anything you want, Ryan, before we jump in?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll with the questions and let's get into the meat of this.
All right. Well, let's start off then with the main story here. Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski is officially retiring. Was it per tweet? So I guess we will see if this is a for sure thing. I know that his agent came out and was talking about if Tom Brady asked him to come back to the team, that he wouldn't leave it off the table. So it kind of shows you. It shows you how secure Rob Gronkowski is on being retired. But
Brett Favre 2.0. No, just kidding.
yeah, but he's not going to a different team. If anything,
for sure.
He's a Patriot for life.
Well,
and
we can go into that a little bit. Brett Favre had to go to another team because the Packers just got sick of it. So like, no, we're moving on. But I could see Rob Gronkowski maybe coming back for another year or even 2. But it matters where his body's at. If I were him, just go out on top, man. His back is messed up. He's still young.
Yeah,
he's got rings. He's got money. Just go off like Calvin Johnson while you're still healthy.
Yeah, and he's getting beat up every year. I mean, you look at last year, he was still drafted as a top. I'm pretty sure the 1 or 2 tight end, and he didn't produce that way, and his body's getting more and more beat up. And you can also see Tom Brady is getting older. He's not the quarterback that was giving Rob Gronkowski
that arm strength,
1,000+ yards every single season. So all those touchdowns that Rob Gronkowski's missing out on, I don't know. I see Tom Brady maybe as having maybe a year left, and he's like, "Hey, Rob, you want to just play one more with me before we retire?" I could see him coming back, so keep your eye open.
If he threw that line out there, he's coming back. I feel like just you saying that right there, I'm like, dude, he's coming back. If Brady calls him,
it's Gronkowski. I mean, he's got his shirt off in every picture, and he's partying, so. He could live the good life right now for the rest of his life at age like 29, I think.
Another thing
30,
I wanted to point out, you ever see when he gets tackled or like when he gets pushed or something, that guy he never hits the ground gracefully. He spears himself into the ground.
He bounces off the ground.
That's a big part of it.
I feel more worse for the ground. He's leaving divots everywhere.
Yeah, he's a big dude too. He just doesn't know how to like roll or fall with the tackle.
But if he comes back, I still see him as a top 5 tight end to be drafted that way. Just in the aspect
just of name value, honestly.
Yeah. So, I mean, right around the Kittle, I would say right around the Kittle draft, maybe even before, kind of like where Jared Cook's going to go. And
I'll put him at 4. I'll put him at the 4th guy probably. So it's Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle, Gronk.
Well, and speaking of tight ends too, let's talk about Jared Cook. It's rumored that he is signing today, and it's going to be a 2-year contract for $15.5 million, and it's $8 million guaranteed in the first year. Jared Cook's going to be a threat on the Saints. So I believe, like we were talking about last podcast, and this was where the rumors lied. This is his destination, and he came out and said right when Gronkowski came out and was retiring that Jared Cook might have had mixed feelings and wanted to go to the Patriots then, but I think it was too late for his contract deal, and he's going to be signing with the Saints, it seems like.
I think that's why the deal took so long to come together and be official, because last week we heard that he agreed with the Saints, but then there was rumors over this past week that maybe he's not going there and that the Patriots were still involved. So then maybe what sealed the deal is the maybe Gronk will come back type of thing. And Jared Cook's like, you know what? Let me just go the safe route. I'm guaranteed to be the star tight end here. They use the tight end. Drew Brees likes the tight end. So
he's making
I feel it's
money.
a better situation as well. I mean, Drew Brees probably, at this point, I'm not sure his exact age, but he's probably got better. He definitely has better arm strength than Tom Brady right now. So, and Jared Cook's a field stretcher, so he'll be getting hit down the seam, and
you want to think
he's gonna
too,
put up big numbers.
And you want to think too, you got Drew Brees, and if Drew Brees retires, Teddy Bridgewater stayed there, and I can
still
see Bridgewater
capable quarterback
as a decent quarterback. So,
for sure.
And
Bridgewater
looking at
was good before he went down.
Yeah, and looking at their roster last year, and you kind of want to see where the targets lie, possibly what's open for him. I'm looking at it now. You had Michael Thomas with 147 targets and 125 receptions. Then you have Alvin Kamara with 105 targets and 81 receptions. And then the third is wide open. If you could guess, it would be hard to guess that Ben Watson was their third most targeted player.
Is that who it was? He was third?
46 targets for 35 receptions.
That dude was like 38 years old. He retired, so Jared Cook will improve on that. There's no doubt.
I think he sneaks right in there. It's probably going to take away a little bit of targets from either Traquan or Ted Ginn. Michael Thomas, I still see as
he's safe.
workhorse.
He's not. His targets are not going away.
Yep, him and Kamara are pretty safe.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
And
they're getting their work no matter what.
so keep an eye out for Jared Cook, because if you're drafting and you see him slipping as like maybe like the 6th tight end off the board and people aren't really paying attention to him, he's going to be probably the all-star draft for a tight end coming into next year, unless the hype hits him and he just pops right up to what number 3, number 4, where he probably belongs. So
I would say 4. If Gronk doesn't come back, Cook could be 4.
he'll be right around Kittle, and because Kittle's going, I think 4. So that's our thought on Jared Cook. It's gonna be exciting to go from Carr to Breeze, and you can't go wrong with a Saints tight end, even if it's a 38-year-old. So moving on to someone who's not too exciting to talk about, but we have to go over him anyway because more people know his name, is Jay Ajayi. He's still a free agent right now. He has a couple of bad knees. He had the ACL tear, and his other knee also is nagging him. Indianapolis Colts were talking to him, and we just want to tell people not to be too excited with Jay Ajayi. He's worn, and he's been to a few teams now. So Marlon Mack leading that charge over there. I don't see Jay Ajayi as much of a contributor except a backup. I mean, what do you think?
No, man, he's got the jello knees. I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL in college too.
Yeah,
I can't confirm that, but I thought I heard that. But I would not. Honestly, I don't. It doesn't matter where he goes. I'm not touching him. I'm not drafting him at all.
Yeah, it'd be weird to see where he goes. I think he'd be at the end of drafts just as a
flyer, sure. I mean, he has talent, but you're only going to get a few games out of him, honestly. Like, I feel like the most you'll get out of him is a half season no matter what. He's going to have to retire soon, I believe.
And if he's the only one backing up Marlon Mack, Mack did get injured last year, so it's kind of like a side note to put in the back of your pocket here. Possibly you could see some starts off of Jay Ajayi, but I think at that time you're probably going to be picking him up off the free agent wire anyway. So
yeah. Well, don't forget about Hines though. In Indianapolis, he honestly played pretty well when Mack was out or hurt. But he's a smaller guy like Darren Sproles type, so he obviously can't carry the load. Mm-mm. So that's when you would see Ajayi come in and take the load off him if Marlon Mack were to go down.
Yeah, and I can see maybe Ajayi being more of the bruiser. Even though his knees are bad, it's kind of the running back, if you think back to like Miami, how he just was running the normal running back routes, and then Hines is more of that pass catcher, that Coleman / Tariq.
Darren Sproles is the perfect way to go about it. Or Tariq Cohen, I guess. Yeah, that's another guy.
So that's kind of our idea on Jay Ajayi. And then moving on to what the Bucs GM had said about Chris Godwin is that he is going to be playing the Larry Fitzgerald role. And it's an interesting name to throw out there. It's a legend in the game. And for someone so young, going into his junior year, Godwin is putting up good numbers last year, and he's improved from his 2 years. So it's kind of a small sample size. But last year he had 95 targets for 59 receptions, and then he had a little bit less than 850 yards. So 7 touchdowns is nice, and you were doing that with Humphreys, Jackson, and Evans on the team. And 2 of those guys are gone, and it could open up Godwin in the slot for a lot of receptions this year. You're thinking of Larry Fitzgerald, who's averaged 100-plus receptions, and targets is right around the 140 range as an average. If you see Godwin with those numbers, it could be scary.
I feel he's capable of it, but keep in mind, last year the Buccaneers literally had no run game. So some of his stats may be a little inflated from that. Yep. The dude's talented, but now on the flip side, like you said, they lost them 2 receivers, so there's going to be plenty of targets to go around.
Yeah, and Mike Evans is going to get a lot. But
yeah, for sure. Mike Evans is the main guy there. Like, don't forget about Howard, the tight end. He's a beast.
Yeah.
So you got to save some targets for him too, and red zone as well. That's where Howard and Mike Evans are going to make their living. So what's Godwin going to do? It's a wild card, but the potential is definitely there, especially with them saying that they want to use him like Larry Fitzgerald. That's you got to open your eyes, and you got to look into that. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. I want to see how he does in training camp, preseason. That's kind of where you're going to find out how they're using him. And you got to
think too. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald was the one on his team for a long time. I besides Anquan Boldin, I don't remember a time that he ever shared a bulk of targets with somebody else. So Godwin to get up to those targets, I don't think is possible. He's definitely right around that 95 range like last year. If he goes over 100, I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't see him pushing 120, 130 like Larry Fitzgerald does. He's got the same catch percentage. I know Larry Fitzgerald had a couple of years in the 70s, but mid-60s. So Godwin's right there around 62 catch percentage, and that's kind of what Fitzgerald was known for.
See, I don't think he's going to get into like Larry Fitzgerald range, just because, like Larry Fitzgerald, like you mentioned, he's never had anyone besides Bolden that was taking stuff from him. So when Bolden was gone, it was Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
But the Buccaneers have too many weapons for him to. I don't think he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get 100 catches.
He's someone to keep an eye out for, though, because Godwin I can see as like the Humphreys of last year, where now Humphreys is gone, and Humphreys had such a good fantasy. I think he was top 5 in the stretch at the end of the season.
Oh, his second half of the year was insane. He did nothing in the first half. Second half of the year, he literally was.
So Humphreys goes out and gets paid.
If you had him in the playoffs, you're golden.
Yeah, what if Godwin sneaks in there and gets those targets then and turns into the Humphreys/Godwin show? And that could be something intriguing. So just keep an eye on him. He'll be he's probably not going to be a sleeper because of how much they're talking him up, and he's on the Bucs offense. So he's going to be popping up into, I mean, I could see him in like the, 5th through 7th round
for
area.
sure.
So
for sure. You can't really compare him to Humphreys either. He's way more talented, Godwin.
Yeah, and I'm just saying
so if he does,
wise.
for sure.
So that's kind of our idea with what he was saying there. Larry Fitzgerald is a beast. He's going on 14 seasons, and he's produced. Even on like last year, you think about how bad of a quarterback he had. He still had 6 touchdowns, and his average is right around 8. He had 112 targets, isn't terrible, and 69 receptions. That's where it hurt because a lot of those were not
quarterback
catchable.
Play last year though too. You got to remember that. Like
Yep.
imagine if he had a capable quarterback that was consistent, he would have put up another huge year. And how old is he? Like he's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So, and I've been sleeping on Larry Fitzgerald. Even the last 3 years, I'm like, all right, this is the year he's going to fall off. This is the year he's going to fall off. No, the dude just goes out there and does his thing.
And everyone's talking about last year. I remember how he was a steal because he was going in like the 4th or 5th round.
4th round, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just something to keep your eye out for.
If you're going to get 100 catches from him with 1,000 yards and 8+ touchdowns, and he's going in the 3rd round, like that's great value right there. It was just, it was the quarterback situation. Sam Bradford was the starter for one game, then they pulled him because he was trash. So,
yeah, and Rosen was just not ready for it. And
they're about to ship Rosen out for a mid-round pick probably in the draft.
We'll see. It should be exciting. I remember listening to a lot of mock drafts, and Rosen was still on Arizona for most of them, and they went with a defensive end. So.
Oh, I feel like you drafted this guy, 10th overall, and you're gonna. So a year later, you're gonna ship him for a mid-round pick. That's terrible.
And I wouldn't be opposed to Rosen going behind a really great quarterback and building him up. I mean, if he went to the Packers and sat behind Rodgers for a few years,
I would love him on Green Bay. But the thing is, like Aaron Rodgers is still gonna play for 5 more years. By then, Josh Rosen will be moved on. Now, if Aaron Rodgers he even came out and said like, "Yeah, I'm playing 3 more years and I'm done." You're going to get Josh Rosen. That's why I really truly believe like the Patriots are going to make the damn move, and I don't want it to happen, but it's just a Patriots move.
You think about this, you think Arizona would be their
4th round pick. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Just like Randy Moss, 4th round pick or 5th round pick, and he's just a beast. He had his best year of his career. It's like that kind of thing. And watch Josh Rosen go to the Patriots and turn into a freaking star.
Yeah, and to me, I know Kyler Murray has had a lot of talk buzzing around him, but I almost would rather keep Rosen and build up the team than go out and get Kyler Murray. He's such an unknown.
You invested too much already, and he's flashed. I mean, he flashed against Green Bay. He looked like a superstar, but I mean, their defense was depleted. But still, he tore him up in a game where the Packers must win, last year, and he dominated them. He shredded the Packers defense. Well, once again, Packers defense is probably at that point bottom 5, but it's still, he flashed his potential right there.
Yeah. And for him to go up against possibly weaker defenses and not produce also, It's hit or miss. I guess we'll see. And
Oh,
moving
he's
on.
going through growing pain. No, you got to think about Josh Rosen. What did he have to work with? David Johnson. They just ran him straight into the pile. Had old Larry Fitzgerald. Nothing else around.
Yeah.
So his weapons were pretty bad. I mean, not as bad as like Josh Allen in Buffalo, but comparable.
You want to know what? Come our sleeper talk. I'm putting Josh Allen on my sleeper talk.
I like Josh Allen. Give him some talent. And unfortunately, would they get John Brown and somebody else? Like, it's not. He's still stuck with nothing, but I guess it's better than what they had.
I mean, he produced in the playoffs. I mean, I played him every single game in the playoffs in our 16-man league.
Yep.
It was perfect. I mean, I had a dud of a game and lost, but it would have been the right choice keeping him in. So he's going to be interesting to look at too for a late round quarterback when you're scooping up all of the pieces.
Oh, he'll be one of them late round flyers next year, I feel. And I'll take him as my second QB. That's the new strategy I'm moving to, by the way. I'm taking 2 quarterbacks, but they're both going to be after round 10.
Okay. That'd be interesting. You want to know what too? Didn't Frank Gore just go over to the Bills?
Yeah. How much? He's an alien. That guy's an alien. How is he still playing? He's a robot or something.
I feel like his joints have to be all just like robotic arms, robotic legs. He's just out there just.
You know what though? In the last like 5 years though, what has he done flashy? Nothing. So he just
just
runs
money,
straight, you know,
just to go straight.
Yeah. Hey, he's kind of productive though. I'm not, what, 36 or something?
I'm not gonna knock him for anything because he was.
I think him and Adrian Peterson are both like trying to be the oldest player ever at running back.
They're just battling each other.
They don't want to retire.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's hear. We got Justin Houston going over to the Colts. What do you think about that, Ryan?
I like the signing. What can't hurt to have more pass rushers on defense. They gave him 2-year, $24 million, which I think is a little steep. But you gotta keep in mind that they still have like $70 million in cap.
And what are they going to do with it?
That's more than double of any team, and nothing now. I don't know, maybe extend a couple guys, but there was guys they could have got though. I felt like Le'Veon Bell would have been a perfect fit there.
It would have been fun.
What do you think? How like that? Him and Marlon Mack. I mean, Bell might get mad because he's splitting a little bit, but I don't know. I just felt like that would have been nice. You could have splurged on him if that was going to be your only option. Maybe they just weren't impressed with this free agent class. That could be definitely it, you know?
Yeah.
And next year, they're going to have all that cap again.
Yeah, exactly. And Marlon Mack, if they think that that's their guy, they don't want anything to come in and cause a stir.
That's another thing. Maybe they do. Like, hey, Marlon Mack's our future. Him and Hines are going to run this combo offense, the 2 running backs, and they might draft the third one to sit behind them and go from there.
On their offense,
sounds like that's what they're going to do.
They haven't really signed anybody, have they? I can't
remember the last. What's the word on Eric Ebron? We heard anything? Is he still on that team? I thought he was a free agent.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's still on there. Option. Yep. Okay. Yep. And that's big. They still have him, Ty.
Who would you pick? Ebron or Doyle going into next season?
Oh, I'm taking Ebron, man. He already proved that he was a beast in the red zone. Jack Doyle, he can't. He couldn't stay healthy last year. Small hands,
baby
Doyle,
hands,
or whatever.
baby
hands.
I'd take Ebron too.
No baby hands. I'm taking Ebron. He's a beast. He flashed his potential or what he can do. He showed what he could do. He wasn't utilized in Detroit. I think Detroit drafted him at like 10th overall, and he's supposed to be the next quote unquote Jimmy Graham, like in his prime. But now he showed it last year, of course, right when he leaves my squad. But whatever.
and then okay. So on defense, then the next biggest player out there is still Eric Berry, who is talking to the Browns, and the Browns are out there making moves, and they're spending their money. So
it's John Dorsey. John Dorsey's the one that. Well, I don't know if he drafted him. I don't think Dorsey drafted him in KC, but he gave him that big extension. Yeah, so I could definitely see him reuniting. It'll be why not add more guys to the team. Browns are exciting.
More names too. You're all of a sudden
That's gonna be a superstar Madden team to play with. That's for sure.
Oh my god, it's gonna be they're gonna be fun to watch from a no-win team to being having Super Bowl odds in your favor.
Yeah, they do have Super Bowl odds. Last time I checked, I don't remember what it was, but I think they were ahead of Green Bay. I'm like, what? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to throw out a number because I don't remember exactly what they said.
I can't. That's why
it's like 1 in 16 or something like that. I thought maybe if that sounds too crazy.
Well, yeah, Eric Berry added to that defense would be great. I mean, they got Myles Garrett, they got Denzel Ward. Throw Eric Berry back in there too. There's a lot of other guys too, but that's just like the top names.
It's their time. I feel like it's their time. They play in a good divisions. Well, somewhat good division, I guess.
Yeah, you can't count that division out. It's tough still.
Yeah.
Besides the Bengals, trash. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was gonna say good division, and immediately thought of the Bengals, and I'm like, whoa,
it's a 3-team race.
Wait a second, that's not even a team.
Poor Bengals.
So let's get into our main talking point then, and we were gonna go over our league. We're not gonna get too in depth with points, like exact points, but kind of how we like to build our teams for the slots that are open, and also our PPR and half point PPR and standard, kind of our thoughts on those three league types. Ryan, why don't you start us off with your favorite? And you're the owner of our league for 10 plus years. So just give us a rundown on any changes you've made, or if it stayed the same, and how much you like running this PPR league.
I mean, I love it. PPR is life, if you want to say that. I don't mess with standard anymore. I'm not messing with standard. Once PPR came out, I was like, okay, this is the way to go. For one, I'm a receiver guy, so that helps. Standard is just, it's like old school, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I think of it as.
It does. It feels old.
Yeah, so our league, we have minor stat adjustments. Other than that, it's like your regular old PPR. Another thing I do love is my league has 3 wide receivers along with every other position instead of 2. It has 3 wide receivers, and I do like that. Plus, there's a flex. You can put a 4th receiver there if you like, but we do the quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex, kicker, defense. So that's my preferred setting in that. I have no problem playing with the 2 and 2, the 2 receiver, 2 running back. That's fine.
It makes it
just
more
adds
fun.
It just adds another element to the league.
Let's say you have 10 teams or 12 teams, adding that 3rd wide receiver slot. It's like taking a 10 team or a 12 team and adding a little bit more depth. It takes a little bit less away from people that stream wide receivers, because a lot of people are holding a few more wide receivers. And I like the move because just like how we played our 16-man league, it's fun to build your team up, and you need a bench. In like a 10-person league, and you have 2 wide receivers, you don't need to build your bench up, because I can just look on the free agency and there's some good names out there. I bet you like John Brown was out there. I bet you
that's another thing, Tyler, is like the 10-man league with the 2 receivers, you're going to have so many good players on the free agent or waiver wire like every week that you can literally plug and play. And I feel with that extra guy, it kind of makes it more tough. So these people that are struggling can't just go to the wire and be like, oh, I'm going to throw him in and he's going to produce just like that guy. Like, that's what I wanted to kind of avoid with that, honestly, because that league is 10 people.
Yeah.
Our main league, and I like it at 10. I don't have a problem playing 12. I do play 12-man leagues, but my league is probably going to stay 10.
I feel like it's
because we have the same group of guys. I don't really want to add 2 more, and like I said, maybe every other year we'll swap somebody out. But other than that, that's how it goes. That's what I prefer.
And I'm thinking 10-person league too, and with that extra slot taking up more of the free agencies, it just pushes for more trades as well. Because
I also have an extra bench spot, so instead of 6, you get 7.
And like I said, that the more you add depth to a team, it turns it less of a switching off of free agency and more of almost like a dynasty for 1 year. It's almost like you have a dynasty team for 1 year, because you're taking people and adding it to your large bench and using those as trade pieces along with a couple of your starters to build up your team. And
never really thought of that. I guess that 7-man bench does help my trade fodder.
It does, and you have 2 IR, right, or just 1 IR?
Yep. I think, I have the 2 IR slot. A lot of people complain about that.
And the IR is used for people that are out
IR
also.
Yahoo has 1 though, so I have 2.
Yeah, and people can use that for anyone that gets injured, and it has the out. And also,
so if they're ruled out for the 1 week, you can throw them on the IR and then grab another free agent quick to try to keep it away from other people or whatever. And then if you're, I've actually done it before. People have called it dirty and this and that, but it's not like I'm just using the system. So the IR slot, if the guy's out, so I can leave him there and have it. It's basically like carrying an extra guy. So when he comes back, he's still there, but I can't use him. I would have to drop somebody to add him to the roster, but I'll just keep him there to keep him away from other people, and that's part of the strategy, man.
And the thing with IR slots also is as soon as they go from an out to either like a probable or just in and healthy, you can't make any free agency transactions until you bring him back into your roster.
No, you'll have to drop 2 people just to get the one free agent, because you have to drop one to add that player from IR, plus drop another guy to get the free agent that you want. So it puts you in a bind. You still have to think.
So you use it to your advantage for a little bit, but if something were to happen, you have to go through hoops just to get that guy back out of there.
It could come back to get you a little bit, but I mean, don't do it unless you have a good strategy to work around it.
So when anyone's playing DFS, FanDuel runs the 0.5 PPR, and DraftKings is full PPR. And kind of if you want to know the difference, I think half point PPR, people like to say it might be more consistent towards like making the difference between PPR and standard. You meet in the middle with 0.5. I've done a ton of DFS, and I haven't seen much difference with the 0.5 compared to the standard or the normal PPR. I know it's a little bit less points, but you still at least get a point or half point per reception. And going to standard I think standard is night and day for any half PPR or PPR because Ryan, aren't you in almost a touchdown only league?
I was just gonna bring that up.
And you have to play it just like a standard.
I play a touchdown only league, man. It's honestly like part of me wants to leave it, but it's the one league that I've been in. I've been in this league this is gonna be my 11th year, and I have never won the Super Bowl. I lost one time. I lost like 120-6. It was all touchdowns, and you get double the points on a 50 or longer yard touchdown. So I've had plenty players put up like 130 receiving yards, 10 catches, get tackled at the 1 3 times, Julio Jones, and not get any points.
Yeah.
And then this other guy's John Kuhn, and he gets 18 because he had 3 touchdowns. So it's pretty crazy.
It's got some skill, but it also has luck.
Yeah, there's so much luck, and I'm in it. I'm gonna pull it off when I'm gonna win the Super Bowl. I'm gonna take the damn belt that they have, and I'm retiring. Dude, I'm done with that league. I just want to win that league so bad. It's a challenge. That's why I'm still in it. I'm not just gonna give up and not. You know what I mean? Like it's a challenge for me. So I just don't want to quit.
And you have a good idea of
quit. I'm not like that.
Yeah, having a good idea of like who is going to get more touchdowns per year, but it's hard to consistently predict touchdowns compared to how consistent it is to predict receptions and yard totals. So, I mean, for a PPR and a half PPR, I think you are the more knowledgeable person has the better odds of winning.
I truly believe that.
So, and I just started in my other friends league. We have the keeper league. So we've never done that in our league. We've never done keepers. We haven't done dynasty. We started
talked about it, but
yes, and in a dynasty league, it'd be fun to find some people that really are going to stick around and stick in the off season and make moves. I know we're going to answer a ton of questions about dynasty leagues, so we know a lot about it. We just need to find the right people to put this team together. But keeper league, starting it off about 5 years ago, I find it a lot of fun. It makes you play a little bit different than your normal standard PPR league redraft. So the keeper league, we keep 2 players, and if you keep that player, you move him 1 up from where you drafted him last time, and you only can keep that player for 3 years. So let's say like I have Davante Adams, and I'm going to get him in like the 14th round this upcoming year, and he was already used last year, so I only have this upcoming year to use him, and then he goes into the pool again. So being able to draft well, keep players on your team, on your bench, and use them later on in the year as a keeper is an excellent way of doing it. Like Damian Williams. I have Damian Williams on my team. It's going to be sad that I could keep him for my last pick of my draft.
Jeez.
But I mean, I'm holding on to Michael Thomas and Davante Adams. So, and sometimes people don't hit.
Your
sometimes
team's stacked in there.
Yeah, and it's going to be nice because keeping those 2 wide receivers, I'm going to start off with a good running back, good wide receiver, good running back, and then just go from there. I mean, I could even get a tight end higher up in the draft now. So
Another thing with like dynasty and keeper leagues, or like dynasty leagues in general, I would love to be in one, but you literally have to get, if it's a 10-man league or a 12-man league, you have to get 10 or 12 players that are really good. You can't have half scrubs, half good players, because then it's going to ruin the league, because there's going to be you're going to have the 2 or 3 teams that are just absolutely stacked, I feel.
And the way I think about it too, for dynasty, the only way that you can run a dynasty league and hope and know that people aren't going to drop off is by depositing a large amount in the beginning. And it's like a contract.
Upfront, like you pay 5 years or 10 years up front.
That's what I'm saying. 100 a year, and you put down 1,000, and everyone puts in 1,000. It goes into an account, and every year, their team gets $100, and then you just keep paying your $100, and that's 10 years at $100.
That's exactly what I was thinking about, man. That's funny you said that, because I was running that past like Frank and Alex and stuff, a couple guys that are in our league, and they're like, "There's no way I'm giving you that much up front if we were to do that." And it's like, dude, that's the only way, because I can't have you. Well, that's one of the reasons I didn't start it. It's because of that reason. Like, you're gonna pay for 1 year and then just quit, and then I gotta find someone. Hey, you got all these garbage players on your team. Do you want it for this? It's like, damn, man. I don't know. You have to have everyone pay up front, or just get 10 guys are top-notch players.
And that's the hard thing too with like the
keeper. I would love to do that though. I want that challenge.
Yeah.
It's hard to get everyone like both those categories are one. It's hard to do that.
Yeah, and I was going to compare it to the keeper league as well, because some teams can get pretty stacked, like how mine has gotten through trades, and all of a sudden a new player coming in will see my team and be like, "Oh man, I don't have a chance." So, and they're drafting a team without any keepers. You want to keep and you want to retain teams and people that are going to stick around, even through the good times and the bad times, because Dynasty, you're going to run into a lot of downtimes if you're not staying on top of your team, and you're going to be a rut like how the Browns were in a rut, or you're going to be like the Giants this upcoming year. So that's what makes it fun. It's like running a franchise mode on like your Madden franchise.
That's right up my alley, dude. That's why I need to find one. I might have to hop on them sleeper bot forums and get me in one.
Yeah, there's tons of people that are looking.
But then again, I don't want to join one of those leagues where it's, people aren't like that good, or it's like all noobs or something.
Yeah, and then people are dropping out like flies.
Exactly.
So in a consensus, me and Ryan are both PPR league. We've grown up PPR. Every league that we've done has been a PPR league coming up, and it's just more exciting. It makes you build your team differently than picking up all of the hard running backs. I mean, even in a PPR league, you still have Zeke going in the 1-2 or the 2 spot. You're still keeping those running backs. I mean, Adrian Peterson, still a decent running back last year in PPR. I mean, I got
something for you. Last year, I just want you to guess on this. How many receptions did Zeke have? I know he's noted for not being able to catch the rock and stuff like that, so that was kind of a knock on him.
Well, I know last year
Adrian Peterson sense. So I just want you to just throw out a number.
I know last year
someone actually told me this, and I was way off, and I was like, "Wow, really? Okay." So that kind of gives you a hint.
So last year, I knew that he caught the ball a lot more than he's previously done, and people are talking about that. But if I were to guess and not know that it's probably up in like the 80s, I would probably say like 30 or 40.
Okay. It's actually 77 receptions.
See? Yeah. As soon as you were talking, I'm like, I know it's going to be up.
So let's put that out there.
And the Dallas is going to continue the success of throwing him the ball. I mean, he did it one season. I see it coming around this season.
They're going to go right back to him, especially with some more weapons now. Amari Cooper in his second full season there, or it's going to be his first full season there, and then they got Randall Cobb. Just looking at this right now, Ezekiel Elliott had 4 less receptions than Alvin Kamara. So
that's insane.
Just think of that. That's why Zeke is arguably the best player in fantasy. Him and Barkley it's the top 2, and I don't think there's any other way around it.
Yeah, and they're both super young, and
you can't go wrong. I guess that's where I'm getting at. If you get the 1 or 2, you can't go wrong.
I feel like we have a really exciting running back, top 5 running backs for this upcoming season. They're young, they're explosive, and it is fun to watch.
Hopefully I get like the 10th pick. That's what I want.
Yeah, so if you wanted the 10th pick in our PPR draft, I think that my perfect pick right now would probably be like 5 or 6.
Give me 10 so I can take my back-to-back receivers right there and be happy.
Yeah, either give me 4 through 6, or I'll take the 10 or 9 or 10 spot.
I mean, if I'm top 5, I'm taking the running back.
Yeah,
I have to.
Yep.
Honestly, what I'm gonna do if I do get a top 5 pick, I'm gonna try to trade that pick because these players at the top of the draft are beasts. So I don't see how no one would bite.
Well, let's talk about that. We just added in trading for draft picks, and that was like 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, because this is gonna be our 3rd year in person.
That's another thing for leagues.
Added
the trades for the draft picks, and as long as your league has more understanding of what draft pick worth is, it makes it a lot more fun. If you're in a league where you know that the people you give them draft picks to trade, all of a sudden they're going to trade their 1 for a 4, 5, 6, and you want to just make sure that your people know what they're trading and the worth, and it turns into an extremely fun draft. We just started doing it live too, and for anybody who's able to do their draft live with friends in person, I highly recommend it. It's a blast.
It's so fun. Like, I look forward to it. I wish all my leagues did that.
Yeah, and what I was thinking this year, as long as we don't get too crazy, we got a couple friends we got to watch out for, but I would love to put up our webcam and stream it, because
that's a good idea.
Because we get some beers and we just sit back and we all draft and we're yelling at each other, and we've had some crazy draft picks just because we're in person. So, and I'm not going to say it out loud because I told him I wouldn't say it.
No, I'm going to say it. This is hilarious.
It's not me. It's not me.
So we have a guy in our league. He come the 3rd round. He had the last pick in the draft. Come 3rd round, he was wasted, man. He put his sticker up there sideways for them, and he fell asleep in round 7.
Was that the Cobb pick?
Yeah, he took Randall Cobb in round 4 or 5.
Oh my God, I couldn't take him serious when he did that.
Oh man, he started off so well. Melvin Gordon and Saquon Barkley there at the end.
Melted it away.
Great start, and then he had too much drink in him.
That's why I would like to live stream it, but yeah, just we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
That's a good idea. I think we might just have to go live on Twitch or something with that.
So if anybody has any questions on their league or any leagues besides the PPR that we prefer, let us know. We're always open to questions of your league or what you could do better, what you could do differently. It's hard to talk to your commissioner and have him change rules around. I know this year I'm going to talk to Ryan about getting rid of the veto. I don't think there should be a veto, and it only causes
chaos.
I was going to say uproars in people's trades. So there's certain things where you can go up to your commissioner and bring it up to him and make a league vote for this rule. I mean, that'd be hard also. Maybe just switching it outright if you know people aren't going to leave.
There should never be any trade vetoes, man. I've seen fair trades get vetoed, and I'm just you got so many different personalities and opinions in the league. Trade veto sucks.
Yeah, and you think about the people going against the other, or in divisions, those people are going to veto automatically. It doesn't matter.
That's the thing, though. They're not vetoing because it's unfair. Some of these guys are vetoing for strategy-wise, and that's not realistic. That's complete BS to me, and just talking about it pisses me off. It happens all the time. I see it happening all the time. It's not right. You shouldn't – unless – the only way – so in my main league, we don't have trade veto. Tyler was talking about our 16-man. We do have trade veto in there. My main league, there's a quiet veto system. You have to bring it up in the chat and completely call for the case to come up, and hey, this is why I think so and so's cheating or colluding. And we did have a situation like that. We've had 2 trades overruled in 12 years.
Yeah. And
the people that were involved are out of the league now. So I don't want none of that toxic stuff in here. So we 2 times. That should show you how many trades get what we let through. We let a lot of stuff go through.
Yeah.
There's going to be people yelling about this or that or complaining, but if you go look at it and go look back at it, a lot of these trades are legit though. They're fair, and you see why they did it. But
and the people
with trade vetoes, people are going to yell and complain, and that's not fair. Yeah, it's fair, and then it's so annoying. It's so annoying.
And it is surprising, too, how many trades that go through and everyone's kind of upset about one side, and then give it like 2 or 3 weeks, and all of a sudden
completely
the
flips.
person that you quote-unquote said lost the trade has the 2 healthy players who are putting up more points. So it's interesting to watch those trades go by, and sure, you can be upset about it, but it's one person's team and another person's team. So that's kind of my idea on the trades. I know a couple
two teams fully competing. 2 teams fully competing with no BS going on should be able to complete any trade. Honestly, if they believe it's going to help their team, you do it.
Yep. And I know a couple other key notes people like to ask their commissioners is getting rid of kickers. It's an interesting one. We've never tried it before. And
I actually brought that up last year, Tyler. No one only me, you, and one other person wanted to do it.
So we'll have to bring it up again this year. It'd just be interesting if we try it a year and let's say we miss the kickers, which I don't think we will, then we'll bring them back.
Yeah, I would be down. I would like to do that. Add another flex or something. Make it really interesting.
And that's what me and you were talking about, is add another flex. And that just... So you get rid of all the kickers out of the free agency. You
still keep that roster spot. You just replace it with a
grab
legit
10
player.
more.
These kickers are winning games, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's Butker's putting up 4, Suckup's putting up 28. It's like, no, dude, and your kicker's putting up 5. It's like that difference right there is an RB1 number thrown up in your kicker spot. That's
as a random number.
Random.
Because he kicked a 50-yard field goal.
It's all random. That's just straight random, dude. You can... I don't know, man. Just talking about kickers frustrates me. I've been on the losing end of that BS a few times.
No need to make you mad. All right, so yeah, ask us any questions. I know in a future episode we'll break down leagues even further, and we'll go into kind of in depth why we have so many slots, who we're going for those slots, and kind of the breakdown of if you have 3 wide receivers, does that switch your drafting strategy towards more wide receivers like Ryan does? And you kind of need to go, and then if we do the kicker, getting rid of the kicker and adding in that extra flex, does that shift your draft also towards maybe a high-end wide receiver, or maybe you go into more of a consistent running back / slot receiver?
5 straight wide receivers then and be happy with it.
Yep. So I can't wait for the episode where we go into our draft strategies, and then going even more closer to the season, going into draft strategies. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I know I'm definitely excited to talk about.
I'm hyped
that
for
kind
it
of stuff
for sure.
So that does it for our league. Is there anything you wanted to add for the league, or we're going to get into the Q&A section?
Yeah, let's hop into the Q&A. We can talk more about the league stuff later on down the line. You could talk forever on that kind of stuff, honestly.
Okay, well, we got like 10 minutes, so let's see how many we can get through. Our first question comes in asking, who do you think will do better, Kamara or McCaffrey? And I know this is kind of a hard question because me and you, when we did our top 10s, you had McCaffrey 1 ahead of Kamara, and I had Kamara 1 ahead of McCaffrey. So I'm not sure if that's what our argument's going to be about here. What is your choice?
Hey, fantasy's week to week, so you never know. Maybe this week you're feeling something else. But I'm sticking with McCaffrey on that.
Okay.
I just want to glance back. McCaffrey actually finished number 1 in PPR last year. He finished 2 points ahead, Saquon Barkley. And so Kamara had 354. McCaffrey had 392 in total points PPR. I don't see... McCaffrey could just go up. He's proven that he can last the whole year. They're only going to use him more.
Okay.
I think he's the safer pick, probably.
Okay. And I would almost say opposite, that I feel like Kamara is the safer pick because McCaffrey had 1 boom year and Kamara's had multiple.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Kamara dominated his rookie year as well.
So, I mean, if McCaffrey could come out and do just as good, I just think that Kamara going into next season is a safe bet. I mean, I like seeing Murray behind him instead of Ingram because I think that Murray's less of a running back, so they're going to more weigh on Kamara, more for the passing as well. And McCaffrey...
That's a good breakdown, Tyler. Honestly, I'm going to agree with you on that. Like, with that breakdown, I'm still taking McCaffrey, but Kamara, you can kind of project an increase
Yeah, and with Jared Cook going there too, it's going to spread out their DBs, and I think Kamara is going to get a lot more yardage this year. But like I said, I'm not going to knock anything on McCaffrey because they're like back-to-back top 5. So McCaffrey had just an amazing season. None of us saw that coming. And the person that had McCaffrey,
I just feel like McCaffrey's their whole offense, though. He's their check down. He's their safety blanket. Greg Olsen retired, right? He's in the booth now. So
you remember in our league, the person that had McCaffrey also had the number 1 wide receiver in the league.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. Brady took him 2-3.
Holy cow, that's crazy. So
I beat him in the chip, though, so that's all that matters.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see McCaffrey come out. I don't think preseason is going to say anything. So the first couple weeks, and I'm going to just bank on Kamara still staying healthy, and McCaffrey, even though he stayed healthy, it's still
that's
a concern.
The thing that worries me is the health on Kamara because he's a smaller dude, and how do you gonna? That's why I'm going to McCaffrey because last year he had the bulk of he had everything, and he lasted.
Okay, and you don't think it beat him up at all?
Obviously, it beat him up, but he's young. He can handle that. Give it like 3 more years of that kind of stuff, and then you can start worrying about it. Okay,
well, if we are back-to-back in the draft, and you grab McCaffrey and I grab Kamara, we'll come up with a bet.
Maybe we can do some kind of bet. Sure, we can do that.
Okay, jumping on to the next question for Q&A number 2. For Tyreek Hill, are you going to, let's say you don't have him, are you going to buy him? And if you have him, would you sell him?
Yes and yes. So let me break that down for you. If I had a Tyreek Hill, I'm going to try to sell him for a high value. Now, if someone has Tyreek Hill and they're trying to sell him, I'm going to buy him, but low. I want to buy him low and sell him high. That's where it's at. So it's a yes and yes question. I'll do both. But it just depends on situation.
Yeah, and in the situation, you want to feel out. So if you have Tyreek Hill, you want to send out those little offers, or not even send out offers. Just send out text messages to people saying, hey, would you be interested? Are you interested? And see what they come back with, what their offers are. And maybe you get somebody who's still feeling like this number 1 wide receiver last year is still worth that value. All of a sudden, you come up on getting rid of the worry for a solid wide receiver. And I think that's the way you think about it.
Well, and that's the thing, though. Some of these leagues, you might catch somebody that's been sleeping in the offseason here and doesn't even know that he has these allegations against him. Yeah. So that plays big. So maybe he's like, oh, why is he trying to trade Tyreek Hill? Yeah, I'll offer this and this. And you're like, yeah, give me that. Yep, I accept,
Yeah.
So you never know. And some people are going to be like, oh, that's dirty. Like, no, it's not dirty. That's their fault for not knowing and not doing their research. So why not take advantage of that? That's how you do it. NFL teams do the same thing, man. They're going to take advantage of a lower IQ GM. And
yeah, just look at the Patriots.
You're in there, you do it. You got to get that Bill Belichick mentality, man.
And I also think, too, if somebody has Tyreek Hill and you're going to go buy him, I can't stress it enough. You can send out mass trades, but if you're going for somebody, send like a message or give them a call or talk to the person if you know them and feel out what their price is on Tyreek Hill. If someone has him and you go and talk to them, they're like, oh, I still put him as one of the top wide receivers. Then that's your time to put your hands up and be like, okay, you keep him and you go with it. But if he's all of a sudden like, actually, I'm really worried that he's going to get the same Kareem Hunt situation, and you can sell him for, let's say you're holding on to, I'm trying to think of a wide receiver like Jackson or somebody wide receiver that you would get rid of and get Tyreek Hill on the low, and all of a sudden allegations get dropped and you have the top wide receiver.
Exactly.
Or if he doesn't, then it's no skin off your back. I mean, you lost Deshaun Jackson or somebody, and that's it. So for that chance, I would take it 100%.
Like when you were talking, I just want to get in on a little bit of how to trade a little bit. I guess this is branching off, but how you mentioned talking about trading Tyreek Hill. And so we have a group chat, and what I have noticed, if you go in the group chat and be like, oh, Tyreek Hill for trade, like literally right when you say that in front of everyone, his value just gets diminished.
Yeah. And you do that too, Ryan.
Right, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going separately to these people behind closed doors like, hey, let's make a deal. Because there's so much chatter in there, and then everyone already knows you're trying to ship the guy. So this year I'm even going to get better at it. I'm not posting nothing in the chat. It's all behind closed doors, and I truly believe that will help.
As soon as people hear you're about to trade somebody, they're gonna whisper to everybody else saying, "Hey, he's out to trade. Don't take him." Here's
just like, man.
They start
and then
spreading
if you
news.
seriously wanted to trade this guy, you're gonna have to accept a shitty offer. It's if you really want to trade him.
All right, let's get into our last question of the day, and then we'll end this podcast. So the last question is, where are you on Tyler Lockett? Because Baldwin is going in for another surgery. I know he'll probably be okay going into the season. He'll be banged up. Tyler Lockett ended up as what you say, top 12 wide receiver.
He was 16th overall, which is actually surprising.
And
his number line isn't like impressive. It was the touchdowns. I mean, he had 57 catches, 965 yards, and 10 touchdowns. So he was getting the touchdowns.
And he could possibly have another great season. I know Baldwin is the main target whenever he's in there. But Tyler Lockett, he's going to get those undercut touchdowns or even deep touchdowns. He's made a lot per last season on the touchdown category, and it's hard to...
Well, he's got that speed, man, the over-the-top speed, and Russell Wilson does have a cannon. He does, and he hits them. That's where he made his living right there. And Tyler Lockett finished 16th overall, and that kind of stat line. So 57 catches. I'm going to go with like probably 68 to 70 catches. He had 965 yards. I'm going to give him more on that. So I'm going to put him over 1,000, maybe 1,100. He had 10 touchdowns. I would predict around
6.
It's going to regress 6, 7. But he's going to end up probably a better overall. He's going to be a better part, more like he'll be involved in the offense more. They did give him a nice extension before last year, so that kind of put me onto him.
And I mean, he had
top 16. I'd go out on a limb right now, and I'm going to say next year he'll finish in the top 15. Why not? Why not go up?
It's possible. With the targets, he had 70 targets last year. I could see that going up to 80 to 95. Put him in Godwin area, and his receptions, like you said, jump up to 70 or 80.
Yeah.
His catch percentage was 81% last year. That's insane.
And you got to think this team was all run. They're the number one running team in the league.
That's because Russell Wilson
rushes
was like
per game and stuff like that. Yeah, so they used all 3 or 4 of them running backs that they had.
Yeah,
and Lockett still finished in the top 16. I just feel he can only get better.
Yeah, and Lockett was right behind Baldwin, like we said. And who do they have left? I'm trying to think of the other wide receivers besides like David Moore.
Yeah, David Moore was a touchdown guy too.
But they didn't throw. Like we were saying, Russell Wilson's QBR was so good because they did not throw the ball. His completion percentage,
I feel
his efficiency was off the charts, and they would be running the ball with every single running back they had in their. Chris Carson was killing it.
Yep.
Mike Davis was doing well.
Yeah.
So it'll be an interesting team. They've turned into a one-dimensional run, and then they put the ball in Russell Wilson's hands.
Man, a little bit about Seattle, like they literally got rid of everyone on that dominating defense, and last year they didn't even take a step back. Their defense was still dominant. To me, that's crazy. Frank Clark is a beast, their D-end, but Bobby Wagner, arguably the best middle linebacker in the league. I would probably take him over Dallas Keuchel just because of those injury concerns. But it's just, besides them two, it's a lot of no-name guys that just gelled.
Yeah. Less of the powerhouse and more of an actual team, a more balanced defense. It's not like you're going out there with the Warriors in the NBA.
Right.
So that kind of does it for questions. Anything you have, Ryan, that you wanted to throw in there involving the questions?
What about that PPR Dynasty trade question that there was? The Bell, say you have Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, and you got offered T.Y. Hilton, Phillip Lindsay, and Julio Jones. What side are you on?
Well, for me, I would immediately, I think that I would want T.Y. Hilton, Julio Jones, and Phillip Lindsay. But the more you think about it,
it's a thinker.
Lindsay's going to be battling for his running back position a little bit later on, maybe even next year. Julio Jones, obviously I want him. I had him last year in our league, and I I always want Julio Jones on my team. T.Y. Hilton, he's 29 years old.
Gonna be 30 in the season. Yep.
So T.Y. Hilton, they just have a better quarterback throwing to him, and I know that's who you're picking, so I don't want to take most of it. It's hard though because Bell going to the Jets, you don't know how well the Jets are going to play. They're trying to build together an offense and an offensive line, but it's still not the team next year. Going into next year, it's not the team you're looking for. I think Bell gets bottled up, and then Antonio Brown. I mean, you have Carr or other quarterback.
Yeah, you don't
him.
even know who his quarterback's going to be. That's the scary part with that. Like,
he's going to get
surface. You're like Bell and Brown. Let me get that. But think about it. Like you said, Bell has the Jets. He's their main weapon. Maybe he won't get bottled up, but they're going to focus on him. He's not going to have all those weapons like he did in Pittsburgh. And then with Antonio Brown, like you said, quarterback situations, very scary. That's you don't know what they're going to do there. And even if they stick with Carr, how good is he? Last year he looked horrible. I mean, so I'm taking T.Y. with Andrew Luck. Philip Lindsay, I feel you said he might be battling for his job. I don't think so. I think that's his job.
Okay.
He's going to be he's in RB1 territory. Like, he's in the conversation.
Yeah.
Julio Jones, he's possibly the most gifted receiver in the NFL with another great quarterback throwing it to him. Or good, you want to say. I mean, I always thought Matt Ryan was overrated, but he puts up numbers, and Julio Jones is a freak. And
they were just talking about the extension where Julio Jones is probably going to be the highest paid wide receiver in the league.
Yep, that's a huge extension that they were talking about. What was it, 5 years, $20 million a year? That's pretty big. Julio Jones deserves it, though. I mean, he's getting paid like what, $11 million a year, and there's plenty receivers like Golden Tate's damn near that. And who you taking, Tate or Julio? It's like that's just I should get slapped in the face for even saying that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's Julio Jones. Like, come on.
And Julio at the end of last season was showing you the type of points he's going to be putting up if he's scoring touchdowns. Let's say
he's allergic to the end zone. Well,
let's say he does that though, like the end of the season, and he adds it to the beginning of his season. I think he's the number one wide receiver.
Oh, for sure. His talent's outrageous. If he could just get the target, or I mean, he gets the targets. It's just he's got to find the end zone.
So, you want to know what? Taking it, I would probably take the Philip Lindsay, Julio Jones side, and it's more of a for sure because T.Y. Hilton and Julio Jones are going to produce. Brown's going to get targets. You just don't know what quality targets he's going to get.
That's
he can get himself open.
Targets.
But we've seen quarterbacks where the receivers can get open, but then they can throw it at their feet. So, that's where I would be on that one. Any other ones you see on your side?
Oh, that ends it for me. I mean, do you have anything else or?
Nope. I'm gonna jump into just the ending then. Glad everyone stuck around, listened to this episode. Episode 8. We're on 8 now. It's kind of crazy. Awesome. And just keep on growing. 8, 9, 10. I'm hoping to get up to 100 one day. So keep on listening
We'll be there.
Keep on listening to us. Every week we're going to keep coming up with some interesting conversations to have. We want to definitely keep doing the questions and answers. And we're just going to keep growing this podcast. I know that I reached out, and I'm going to put in our show notes. I got our main website. It's going to have all of our information. It's going to have all the episodes. But also check us out on Spotify, on YouTube, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, and then right now it is in progress for iTunes and Google Play. And then also we have our Twitch handles. So if we're ever playing a game and we start up our Twitch, or if we're doing a podcast and we're doing a live podcast on our Twitch, come check us out. My name is BowTYz, BowTYz. Come and hit a follow. And Ryan, you want to tell us your Twitch?
Yep, my Twitch handle is it's th3_dynasty.
And that's DYNASTY. Go give him a follow as well. And follow us on Twitter. That is at TJonson, TJONSON07. And then it's also at RyanElke1, RYANOELKE1. And make sure you follow us on all the platforms. And as soon as we get iTunes up, I definitely want to reach out to everybody to leave us a 5-star review or any star review, whatever you think that this is worth, and a comment, question, how we're going to get better. It's only going to help us grow. And like I said, we want to do tons more episodes, and we want to just get better every single time. I know that the intro is already at all-star product because that's what I'm making.
Nice.
And yeah, just stick around for the ride. Listen to us whenever we come out. We want to make sure we get it out every Wednesday or Thursday. Give you something to listen to on your way to work. Or if you're at work like I am, I'm able to listen to podcasts. I listen to them all the time. I'm just relaying you multiple sources of information along with myself and Ryan. So that will do it for the MVP Sports and Fantasy Podcast. Ryan, I think we just did another great podcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, everybody, have a good one.
Have a good one.